Hello, good evening, and welcome to Silverstone. Welcome to the show. It's the iGPFun Super Formula Lights League Round 3 of Season 2 in 2025. My name is Edward Hunter. Alongside me in the country box is our broadcast director, Dean Hopton, or Dean Biggles. It's nice to just call him Biggles. Anyway, appropriately enough, Biggles, here we are at the old historic World War II airfield at the old RAF Silverstone that has since changed almost unrecognisably over the past 60, 70 years that it's been hosting the British Grand Prix. Here it's going to host these Super Formula Lights cars. We've got a field of a good 34 cars, I think, on the server that are just finishing off qualifying. And wow, we're in for, if past seasons are anything to go by, Silverstone is going to bring up quite a treat in terms of the racing action we've got to look forward to.
Yeah, absolutely. I feel like that there was a major event that was occurring here earlier this week. So no spoiler alerts, of course, if anybody's tuning into what may have happened at Silverstone. I'm just wondering where the rain is, my friend.
Yeah, certainly partly cloudy at the moment. We'll have to see the broadcast, the forecast, sorry. We are the broadcast, right? There we go. We have to see if the forecast changes. But anyway, as you see qualifying just being completed, we look at Tony Jimenez and Lee Aberdeen topping the times, nearly 3/10 between them. But here is your driver's standings after 2 rounds completed. It is Lee Aberdeen, 84 points to his name, 1 point ahead of Simon Fessy. And of course, Simon Fessy, winner in round 1 at Okayama. But it was Denny Cornu, the man in third, who won last time out at the Red Bull Ring for round 2. He's got 80 points to his name. Then in fourth is Ludovic Ranson, another French driver, in fourth on 79 points. Kevin Zemstra is fifth on 76 points. Then is Julio Palacios sixth, equal with Bahardin Ayan, both on 70 points. In eighth is Tonio Jimenez, who of course we were just talking about, lining up on the front row, the reigning champion from the previous season earlier in the year. Jimmy Dos Santos is also equal on 63 points in 8th, and rounding out the top 10, it's Stuart Milne, who leads about 5 points ahead of Robert Ridgway, Andy Flint, and company. Let's just round up the top 10. We've got Leonard O'Cherry.
Yeah. My apologies.
Along with... Yeah. No, okay. We've got Leonard O'Cherry also in 12th. Adam Talsma also in 12th for 51 points. Ben Goyette is 15th on 47. Mehmet Emir Tassi is 16th on 46 points. We've got Brad Falega 17th. Nikolaus Rasmussen 18th. Dorian Arroyo in 19th. And equal with him is Alex Hopkins, also on 36 points. So that is your top 20. You can see the full standings, of course, on the IGP website. But anyway, there are your team standings as well. With Team Unity Red, equal on points at the top of the standings with XX Racing. It's difficult for me to remember who drives which team because it doesn't say on the timing screen. Scuderia Racing Forces, that's an easy team to remember. That is Andy Flint, who currently lines up third on the grid, along with his teammate, who's I forget who else drives for SRF, but I think the liveries tend to be a bit of a giveaway here, don't they? The SRF are on pretty memorable. So there you go. Those are your top 3 in the teams. So time starting to run out here. We have got just over 2 minutes left in the session here as we look at Tony Jimenez trying to get those crucial tenths. There could be threats from behind. If you look, Kevin Zemstra and Brad Falega have set the exact same time to at least 2 or 3 decimal places here in qualifying. So I think actually they're 3 thousandths apart on the grid at the moment then. So Brad Falega at his home race, of course, trying to get onto that second row, and he's very, very close to being able to do so. But Kevin Zemstra, the Dutch driver who usually makes a bit of a habit of climbing through the field after difficult qualifying sessions, has actually got together a very, very respectable lap indeed. And so Aberdeen, Jimenez, Flint, Zemstra, that's quite competitive. Where we got Simon Fessy a bit further down in 13th, and Denny Cornu in 12th, of course. So a lot of our title contenders, other than Aberdeen himself, of course, who leads overall, not really in the top 10 at the moment.
Yeah, exactly. This is crunch time right now. So the drivers are out some quick laps at the moment. Simon Fessy, I think, improves over to P12 at the moment.
And Aberdeen
Let's
improves
see.
too, only
Aberdeen
by
does.
1,000, but Aberdeen is now the full 3 tenths rather than 0.29 tenths ahead. There you go. So, Tony Jimenez then knows the bar has been lowered, raised, I should say, that bit further, but the time lowered. There we go. Got to get the metaphor and the reality the right way around. Jimenez does actually set a personal best, but is beaten by Brad Verlager. Fantastic lap there from the Englishman, and he's just under 2 tenths behind Lee Aberdeen then. So there we go. We've got an Australian, a British driver on the front row here. Why is this reminding me of real life Formula One racing?
Just need a Dutchman in there, but that's Kevin at the moment, and he's running in P4. So
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
I guess would Tony be Carlos Sainz or Fernando Alonso? We'd have to see, I guess, depending on how the performance goes. I guess they're both pretty unlucky so far this season, so Tony Jimenez can't really be either of them. Maybe he'd probably prefer to be compared to Alonso, I imagine, given that he's won 2 championships. But here we go. Towards the line comes Andy Flint. Can Flint improve? Yes, he displaces Zemstra. Great lap from the American there. And Krish Patel has also done a very solid job to get up to P6 ahead of Ludovic Ranson. Ranson improves to P7, just sneaks in the top 10 then at the very end of this session. We've still got a couple of laps being completed here. This is Robert Ridgway, the man with the alliterative name. Can he break into the top 10? He's 17th at the moment, the man in car number 17. Towards the line he comes. It's not looking too impressive. It is slower than before. Ridgway will have to start behind Alexei Yukish, who I believe is making his debut. Not sure what nationality Yukish races under. I don't recognize the flag. It looks like not Tunisia, but a red flag with sort of a gold crest in the middle. I have to figure out what that one is. Might have to put that into Google Images. Search up Google Lens. Let's see if that does it.
Who was the driver, sorry, that you're talking about for the flag?
Alexei Yukish, who's 16th, as we're just looking at.
Yes, that is a flag I do not know as well, yeah. So let us know in the chat if you do know. Kevin's already answered the question out there for you in the chat.
Oh, okay. I should probably open up the chat. I saw 3 people there and assumed nobody would be around. It's Montenegro, of course. Whoa! And there's been, was that Rasmussen having a bit of issues there with somebody else, I think. Oh, no, it was Leonardo Cherry.
Leonard, yes.
Oh, Leonardo, I love that. Let's call him that. Leonardo Cherry rather than Leonardo O'Cherry. But yeah, lovely livery there. Interesting. We've got the sort of purple, pinky, and then a sort of beige color. Very unique. You definitely would spot Leonard from a mile away there in that 55. But he is starting another lap 2 minutes after the session has ended there. So I think Leonard O'Cherry, after that collision with another driver, he's not going to do better than 20th on the grid. So we've got 35 drivers that have set lap time. Only Kevin Byland failing to get a time on the board at the end of the session here. If
you kind of look at it, it's a variation of his Norwegian flag. That's stripes onto the side of the car, so that's fantastic. And then, of course, if you want to go to the other Scandinavian driver, there are only 2 out in the track at the moment. You go to the Dane driver here, of Rasmussen, and these 2 are the only ones left to set a time.
Yeah, Rasmussen then.
Rasmussen.
Nope. I think Rasmussen was another one that crossed the line after it ended there. So yeah, he is pretty much done there. But that completes the grid then. So as so often is the case, it's Lee Aberdeen that ends qualifying at the top of the pile. There we go, 149.220. That is the pole time from our Australian who's been champion in iGPFun Super Formula Light a couple of times before and is looking to do again. Brad Verlager really impressing there to line up alongside him on the front row. Then it is Tony Jimenez, reigning champion, third on the grid of Andy Flint alongside him for Scuderia racing forwards. Kevin Zemstra lines up at the head of row 3, just ahead of Krish Patel. And Krish Patel, another new driver, starting to impress us as this season goes on. Ludovic Ranson will line up 7th, completing row 4 will be Nicolas Rasmussen. Then it is Alex Aguado and Bahadin Iron making up row 5. Julio Palacio and Simon Fessy, the man are in the top 3 in the points. They make up row 6 together. Mehmet Tassi, is 13th with Denis Cornu for company. The Frenchman, of course, a long-time competitor, will need to gain places in that Unity Racing car. Clark Williams and Alexei Yukish from Montenegro will line up on row 8. Then on row 9, it's Robert Ridgway and Nguyen. In row 10 will be Jack Williams and Leonard O'Cherry. Then it is Scott Taylor and Patrick Williams, followed by Adam Talsma and Elliot Hankin, who rounds up the top 24. But we still got a few more, of course. We've got Eddie Amos, followed by Justin Fields, John McKenzie, Stu Milne, Paul Distelli, Mike Ulch rounds out the top 30. Then it's Lewis Archer, another homegrown driver, ahead of Patrick Rowlands in P32, Dorian Arroyo 33rd, Matthew Gracie will line up 34th on the grid from Richard Van Veen, the last qualified at a time. And it's Kevin Byland, who will have to go from the very back of the grid looking to gain positions. And if I remember correctly, Byland, the Swedish driver, has made a bit of a habit of that in years and seasons past. So look out for Byland, but the race underway at Silverstone, and it's Aberdeen that flies in first into turn 1. Brad Verlager tucks in behind, followed by Tony Jimenez and Andy Flint, who's got Zemstra for company. Look behind as they all rush in through farm, into village, and into the loop. Mehmet Tassi passes Simon Fessi. Alex Aguado has gotten past Nicholas Rasmussen, but then going into the Wellington Straight, as you see Rasmussen fighting away with Aguado and Iron right behind Iron. The Turkish driver has got a very, very good run then as they go down the Wellington Straight for the first time. He tucks in behind Aguado, tries to thread the needle between both of them, and they part like the Red Sea. Through goes Iron into Brooklands. That was a spectacular move. He's up to P8.
Don't just muted myself for a second. Absolutely fantastic. Oh, a little too soon. And that's one of the first ones going to get involved currently.
And Denis Cornu, the man in the championship fight, is in the wall there and having to extricate himself. The man third in the points. We said he qualified badly. Nguyen also losing his front wing in the absolute melee there. And I think Eddie Amos was the other driver involved in that. So Cornu, Nguyen, Amos all losing out. We think Kevin Byland still at the end of the pit lane, yet to take part in this race then. So lots of action. Stu Milne has gained about 5 positions from where he started. Adam Talsma, Jack Williams, and Elliot Hankin have all gained 4. And Tony Jimenez has taken second. There you go, up the inside, down the Hanger Straight and into Stowe as Ranson passes Patel for 6th as well in the background. But Jimenez crucially catches Verlager unawares there. So Jimenez's experience coming in handy. And now Lee Aberdeen has got a very, very experienced reigning champion looking to knock him off the top spot here. So what can Brad Verlager for Ridgway Racing, teammate, I assume, of Robert Ridgway, who's up to 14th already, do here? Is he going to try and follow Jimenez and try and hold on to that podium? Or is he going to more have to worry about Andy Flint in the SRF car behind him? He's just 4 tenths in arrears. Aberdeen, unsurprisingly, sets the fastest lap, 154.184 at the end of lap 1 then. But Verlager is going to get the double toe down the Wellington Straight here. So Jimenez not quite close enough to challenge for the lead just yet here. But yeah, Verlager's not going to take that sitting down in front of the home crowd, is he?
Just say further back at the field there that we may have a bit of a battle brewing at the moment for 9th and 10th, as you can see on your pictures. Yeah, exactly. The audience out here in Silverstone will be excited to see if Brad can find his way back past the Spaniard here at home.
This is spectacular. Here we go. Rasmussen completes move round the outside at Brooklands, which becomes the inside for Luffield. A little bit of gravel being kicked up there. So Aguado having to go very, very wide, but it is the Andorran that has the tuck up behind. Rasmussen, having lost 2 positions on the opening lap, gains 1 back and is up into 9th position, and now is free to chase after Iron, who's right behind Krish Patel and Ranson, who are all fighting away behind Kevin Zemstra, who's lost a bit of ground to Andy Flint here.
Little gig, a wiggling giggle and a bubble and a jiggle that goes through the corners of obviously Beckett's, Maggots and Chapel. And there you are currently at the moment. The Aussie is getting a little bit of a lead there. He's trying to make this way back past. Back into P2. The Brits got him.
There we go. So yeah, he just got his own back down the Hanger Straight, positioning himself perfectly up the inside into Stowe, and Jimenez decided not to fight that one too hard. I think Jimenez knew he needed to pull much closer to the back of Lee Aberdeen. Unfortunately for him, Aberdeen had sort of dropped him and is now a second ahead in the lead, as here we see Rasmussen in the middle of a fight here with Simon Fessi immediately ahead of him, and Mehmet Tassi right behind as well. So Rasmussen has actually lost 3 positions there, but he was not fighting with Aguado. He's now had Fessi get back past him there. So that has worked out spectacularly badly for Rasmussen, going wide at the final corner. Julio Palacio has had a horrible start as well. He is down from 11th to 21st, the American. So he has got a lot of work to do, as the squabbling, the shuffling back and forth in these early phases is going to continue, at least for the time being. It's Bahadin Iron who now steals the fastest lap, 1 minute 50.6 away from Aberdeen.
Yeah, I got a few people out there chat there. Kevin's saying there, which he didn't start actually, is like, what the flip? I have the beep button actually. I would use that one for you too. So it's unfortunate there for our Swede driver that won't be starting on the grid here this evening, and we've got a few other people.
Well, we didn't see him in qualifying, and we didn't see him in the race, so double disappointment there for Kevin. So yes, unfortunately, internet, it would seem, or the game iRacing itself, not playing ball. This happened in the race that I was broadcasting with JPB earlier. Actually, it was another race at Silverstone in a different league, where a driver was supposed to start in reverse grid pole and just never really showed up at all. So that was very weird. He got disconnected as the race went to green flag, with the lights turning out then. So Brad Falaker now, because Lee Aberdeen, as I say, a second ahead, he finds himself defending again from Tony Jimenez. This time he holds on. So Falaker's confidence will grow a bit the longer he's able to hold off Jimenez and Flint, of course. And maybe there's a bit of that home crowd energy cheering Brad along here, as we see Jimenez sets the fastest lap in Brad's wake, but Andy Flint immediately steals it off him by going almost a tenth faster. So here we go. Brad is going to be creating a massive hole in the air for these two to take advantage. But you can tell Andy Flint is not going to play ball. Patel and Iron squabbling away for 7th position just behind these two. And it's Patel that has just been able to hold on. So here we go. We are 6 minutes in, 4 laps into this 25-lap race then. And it is anybody's guess. I think really it is turning into a battle for second. Aberdeen, as has so often been the case, is just starting to control this race as Iron is up the inside once more on Krish Patel. Can he pull this one off? Patel back up the inside into Lovefield as we see gravel on the exit there. Don't want to lose traction over that. Iron still there alongside, but he's not really going to be able to go round the outside into Cop's corner, surely, unless something spectacularly unfortunate happens to Patel here. Patel goes back to the racing line, just enough space left for the two of them, but Iron has been absolutely relentless, like a dog with a bone in these opening laps, picking off cars left and right, fighting with everybody, and they're going to go side by side into Maggott and Beckett, and Iron gets through. Patel almost had to back out. That was a game of chicken, and it's the Turkish driver that comes out on top.
Absolutely fantastic racing, isn't it, to see that? I love it. That's bold and brave here for race 3 in the season between the drivers, and well, they know that in order to get overtakes around here, you do have to risk it for the biscuit, and that certainly was quite a bit of risk with maximum reward this case around. I wouldn't try that every day.
We got a bit more info from Kevin Byland, by the way. He got a headache and felt seriously ill, so decided to withdraw for that reason. It's Krish Patel, losing places hand over fist. What has happened to Krish Patel? He's dropped to 12th place behind Mehmet Tassi, as we see side by side John McKenzie in a little battle. Robert Ridgway has just gone up to 12th. And McKenzie is off and almost into the pit lane entry there. Who was McKenzie fighting with there? I think it might have been Kalsma or Julio Palacio that he was fighting with for 20th position, but nonetheless, he's going to fall well down the order now after that. John McKenzie now 32nd.
Yeah, we'll go back and have a look at those replays in a minute, because I don't want to step away from the live action that we have, because you just got that feeling if you did go away for a second, you're going to come back, you got another replay to show, and then another replay to show. And yes, here we are.
Ranson passes Zemstra there. So Kevin Zemstra, who started in the top 5, top 4 in the grid, now sees one of our title contenders, Ranson, the man second the points, needs to limit the damage that Aberdeen can do here by getting onto the podium or as close as he can. And that's a crucial move that he's just made on the Dutchman. But Kevin Zemstra, of course, no slouch, will not take it sitting down. But it's the Unity Racing driver, Ranson, who's gained 2 positions. Can he gain a couple more? 1 second ahead is that battle between Falaga, Jimenez, and Flint. So, yeah, it could get very, very tasty if Zemstra is able to keep this pace going. And, well, Ranson is. And maybe if he's able to drag Zemstra with him, we could see a 6-way fight or a 5-way fight at least for second position.
That'd be absolutely fantastic. I'd love to see as many battles as you possibly can. Now everybody's separated. Well, if they can get up to Lee, of course, there's this lead. He's got a 2.5 lead almost at the moment. But this is kind of where it's all heating up for the battle for P2 downwards, as you can see in your picture. And gets into that little orange on that tower ticker, you know that you're under a second between the drivers, and that's exactly the case. This is what happened to Chris. No, I'm going to hold on to this one for a second, actually, just before we get to a couple of replays.
Oh, fastest lap for Jimenez behind Brad Verlager, stealing it back off of Lee Aberdeen, but Brad Verlager has got his mirrors full. Clark Williams has gotten himself up to 14th past Alexei Yukic as Ranson having to defend from Zemstra into Village and the loop. That won't help will catch up to this group, but he is just able to hold on as Rasmussen is fighting away with Simon Fessy in his attempt to get back up the order. There we go. That was a good move there from Leonard O'Cherry to keep Jack Williams at bay, but Williams back up the inside into the loop as they now go onto the Wellington straight there, and Leonard O'Cherry left the door open. Rasmussen and Fessy going side by side for ninth position, and it's Fessy that gets through. Rasmussen has come to grief and is dropping down the order. He's going to fall into this battle if he's not careful. Rasmussen down to 16th. Oh. There he is. Oh dear. And that's Rasmussen facing the wrong way in Brooklyn. So I assume him and Fessy must have come together there. As we see side by side in the battle between guys, Robert Ridgway is now gaining an impressive 7 positions, getting past Mehmet Tassi just before Kops there. And Tassi, the Turkish driver, falling almost into the clutches of Patel as he attempts to hang on around the outside there.
Oh, they get a little loosey-goosey on the entrance and exits here as they go through the fastest sweeping section here now onto the back straight. The DRS will not be activated, but weaving to try to break the slipstream there at the moment, Edward. So let's see what they can do here. Let's send them on the inside. Why not? No, backs off a little bit.
Well, that's why not, because he brakes so late. There's Tassi, but Tassi going very, very wide, not getting the traction on exit, and through goes Krish Patel, following through his countryman Robert Ridgway, and now it's Clark Williams in that green and white car, number 98, that is closing on Tassi for 12th place and dragging Alexei Yukic with him. Come to mention it. Tony Jimenez is very, very close to the back of Brad Verlager once again, as indeed is Kevin Zemstra to Ludovic Ranson. There is Brad Verlager gamely hold on. He's been defending well, hasn't he, the past couple of laps from Tony Jimenez. All the drama really in this race has been behind our top 6, isn't it? Essentially, with everybody squabbling for positions like mad, and in the top 6 it's been a little bit more tame by comparison, everybody picking their moments a bit more circumspectly. And Lee Aberdeen, interestingly, able to lap slightly quicker than the competition behind. He's got that buffer 1.3 seconds to Verlager, but he's not looked all that comfortable. He's not disappeared up the road, has he, like I think some may have expected him to do so.
Yeah, exactly. Well, if you've got that buffer at the moment, that might just be enough. He doesn't want to push it too far. Remember, because of those incidents that you did see further, and we'll go back to the replays for, you don't want the kitty litter is kicked up in certain corners as well too. And he's going to be the first one approaching that, being in the lead. So you're going to play that little bit of a caution game. Whilst he has that buffer, it should be okay to continue on matching the speed, of course, as the rest of the field behind him.
It does seem to things have quietened down just a little bit. So it might be an ideal time to check a replay or two. I'll let you choose it at will, Biggles. Let's see. So here's Krish Patel. Are we about to see Krish Patel, how he lost a couple of positions early on? This is him, just spinning it around the RRS Astronauts driver there, out of Club and Vale. So yeah, the rear just not complying. This is Mackenzie. He didn't tap the car in front of him. He just got sucked in, and then that was almost way too late on the brakes. Leonard O'Cherry, I think, is out of the race, by the way. He is dropping down the order and is grayed out on the timing screen. No, I think maybe there's a connection issue there. He was running in the top 16. This is Mike Ulch losing it all on his own. Very luckily avoided there by the cars behind. And here's Rasmussen. We're about to see him get turned around with Simon Fessy side by side. Is there a bit of contact?
Oh,
no, he
just
just
his own. Yeah.
again dropped it on his own. Oh, and this is a really terrible place to be stuck. Clark Williams just avoids by going off track. He sees the pack coming and reverses out the way, as here is a battle with Adam Talsma. Oh, and there was a car in front just going into the pits. Was that Palacio or Williams?
That was hard to see that one, actually, who that was. But, yeah, you said that particular, maybe a little bit of a disconnection issue happening as well at the moment. And it's the battle back down to P21, 22, 22nd.
That's Fields making a move into Brooklyn. It's past Paul Distelli. So good job from Justin Fields. Robert Ridgway is still on a charge. So him and Elliot Hankin, I believe, two of the biggest gainers. Though Richard Van Veen from near the very back, he's up to 25th. There's been a little bit of attrition that has helped him out there, it must be said, but nonetheless doing a good clean job is Van Veen at the present moment. But here is Krish Patel putting the pressure, going a little bit wide off track there through Chapel as he goes on to Hanger Straight, trying to pursue Robert Ridgway. You can see in the back there is Tassi Yukish and Williams all dueling away for 12th position behind. But Tony Jimenez, you can feel a bit of frustration for the reigning champion. He is on the podium, yes, but he is stuck behind Brad Falaga, who he's challenging early on. And the more he gets stuck behind Brad, the more opportunities open up here for Andy Flint in that SRF car, who's kept him very, very honest indeed. He's been matching him. In fact, 2/10 quicker the previous lap. Andy Flint is actually matching the pace of Aberdeen up front. So almost the second fastest man on track at the moment.
Yeah, I get a feeling this battle's going to be heated up for quite some time, with 17 laps to go still in this race. So, yeah, everything to play for. Anything can happen at Silverstone. It's the birthplace of Formula One. And we're back here. We're here, obviously, at the moment here for the iGPFun series. But 75 years ago, I'll say this is where everybody got into doing some open-wheel motor racing, and there certainly is continuing that to today.
I'm pretty sure Silverstone also held Grand Prix before Formula One in like the very, very late 40s.
Yeah, the Mutton Grand Prix, the very first one. The Mutton, yeah, exactly. But not actually officially as an F1 race, but been around a while.
Yeah, it's Formula One. I think would have people believe that nobody thought of Grand Prix racing or until 1950. But I think, of course. It's existed as a sort of format since like 1906, sort of Paris-Bercy, I think was the very, very first one. Although it's a much safer sport than it used to be, as we see Bahadin Iron, I think, having some sort of issue there in 7th position. He keeps dropping behind Aguado and Fessy. I think that might be a little transponder issue.
It's a little transponder here.
Yeah, because they're going under the bridge, must be losing connection. Tony Jimenez closing on the back of Brad Falaga again, as has Andy Flint hit trouble because Ranson has gone through. Andy Flint has dropped well away from that second place battle, and Ranson has picked him off while we were watching Jimenez there.
Yeah. I didn't see
slotted in between Ranson and Zemstra. Could it be that maybe there was a connection issue for everybody? And that was a 52.6 for Flint. And there we go. He just had a massive slowdown coming out of Stowe then.
Yeah. He did. That's
possibly track extending.
Probably track extended, exactly. We'll have to get that place up, unfortunately. But he's still in the fight.
Indeed, he is. I believe Aguado has just been passed by Simon Fessy, who is now up to 8th position as you're on board with Andy Flint trying to regain position. And yet there's that 2.5 second gap between Ranson and him. That mistake from Flint could have cost him dear. Around the outside of Luffield he goes. Jimenez has got the fastest lap, by the way, 150.2. And this is really good news for Jimenez because now he's got Brad Falaga all to himself. He doesn't have to worry as much if he makes a move on Falaga and it doesn't quite work out, because he can regroup without worrying about losing his position in the queue, so to speak here. So this means Flint, if he wants to be part of that podium fight, he absolutely needs to clear Ranson at the earliest available opportunity. And Andy tucks in behind the Frenchman into Maggots and Beckett. Zemstra keeping a watching brief on the pair of them. Zemstra looking fairly steady rather than spectacular at this phase, as Bahadin Iron has actually been catching all of them and is less than a second behind Zemstra.
Yeah, so this battle that you can see on your screen at the moment, there's a little battle there between Fessy as well too and Alex. You can see tucked up on the gearbox of the number 27 French driver. That's happening. Andy's now putting some pressure back again there, Kevin. This time around. So the Dutch driver's come in to join this party at the moment in P6. He's smelling P5 up the road there from the American driver. It's all happening to play here, of course. And on top of it, we still have Jimenez hunting down the Brit here in his home race.
Yes, so yeah, Verlager has done a really, really solid job so far. He is now starting to drop a little bit off the pace of Aberdeen. Aberdeen was over 4/10 quicker last lap. Has got the gap up to almost just under 2 seconds now. But yeah, Jimenez, you can sense if he could clear Brad Verlager, then he is pretty much the only other driver in the race that might be able to match Aberdeen and maybe go that a little bit faster. He was able to set fastest laps whenever he's dropped a little bit behind Verlager. So there's a bit of an accordion effect going as Verlager goes a little bit wide through Brooklands and into Luffield. And this creates an opportunity for Tony Jimenez. You have to wait an age to get on the power out of Luffield. It's one of those corners that very much rewards patience. But there we go, Brad Verlager feeling the pressure here. He has been soaking it up well so far, but he will have to start driving defensively now to keep Jimenez at bay as they go through Copse. Verlager just staying within the track limits and keeping 2 wheels right side of the curb. But now Fruit, Maggots, Beckett and Chapel, Jimenez, he knows he needs to set up the move on the exit onto Chapel, onto the hanger straight here if he wants any chance of challenging Brad Verlager. But yeah, Verlager using the strengths of his setup very, very well here indeed, and able to keep ahead now. As look at this, Zemstra trying to challenge Flint for 5th position. Up the inside he goes. It wasn't a great exit from Andy Flint onto hanger straight there, and Zemstra is back into the top 5. This has been a disastrous couple of laps for Andy Flint.
Down 2 places currently at the moment from where he started, so he's just trying to hold on tight here to keep inside that top 6. With that battle brewing behind him there with Fessy and Alex. Further back, there is where Nicholas is. Look at this. This is a 3-way fight here that could turn quite rewarding for some of the drivers. It's getting a little antsy out there. Track space is starting to become very, very limited as we get a 4-way fight.
Ooh. Very well done from Rasmussen around the outside into Club, and Vale can Justin Fields cut back underneath him. He's got Patrick Williams right behind. They're side by side going into the last corner, nearly understeers into Rasmussen, but it's going to be Justin Fields that has the inside in the fight for 21st position. And look behind as well at Williams and Richard Van Veen continuing his launch up the order. He's gained 11 positions.
Front here again,
but look at this, Verlager. Again, another poor run actually into Luffield there, which opens the door for Tony Jimenez, and Verlager defending here. He's actually allowing Ranson and Zemstra to slowly catch her 2 seconds behind.
Back.
Ridgway in trouble, a little bit of trouble there, but he just holds on to that one. He's now 3 seconds behind Iron, who's now into the top 9.
I didn't see any notification going off track there. It might have been a slowdown actually. Is the reason why Robert. He's still up 7 places for the number 17.
He's not lost the position to Patel.
Yeah.
So that's worked out not too badly for him. It's certainly not as disastrously as Andy Flint, for example. But yeah, Tony Jimenez, you can feel him getting impatient here because we are nearly halfway through this race. He has had 1 attempt in the opening lap to get through as Lewis Archer always just going to lose that position to Van Veen. I think Van Veen just holding on to it now. Fields gets a bad exit from Copse and drops off the back of Williams. Here comes Richard Van Veen. Van Veen full of bravery into Maggots and Beckett, and he gets up to 23rd. That's 12 places gained for the Dutchman from the very back of the field, as Jack Williams is also in a fight just with Scott Taylor here, and Taylor is going to go side by side on the exit of Stowe, and Jack Williams is going to be stranded on the outside. Fessy has set the fastest lap of the race, by the way, fascinatingly, as he chases down Andy Flint. So yes, it is more pain coming the way of the American driver there, but yeah, Jack Williams has to tuck in behind as Aguado now is just following Fessy. He was only less than a tenth slower than him on that previous lap as he set a personal best of his own, and he's right in the slipstream as they go down the Wellington Straight then, Biggles.
Meanwhile, race leader, the Aussie, the Thunder from Down Under, is got a 2-second gap now. So he's doing quite good here as we're 13 laps down, 13 laps to go, halfway through this race.
Even the laps where he's not particularly exceptionally quick, he's still quicker than Verlager and Jimenez. And Verlager's holding up Jimenez as we see Jack Williams trying to go around the outside of Clark Williams, I believe. No, it's Scott Taylor. Sorry, no. Oh, dear. Jack Williams completely messes up the braking into Brooklands and loses those two hard-fought positions. And now Elliot Hankin may actually have him in his sights. I think that was Scott or Palacio just dipping wheel into the gravel and throwing up bits of detritus all over the circuit there in an attempt to, it's like pocket sand, you throw it at the car behind to try and distract them. But here comes Andy Flint then, still in the wheel tracks of Ken Zemstra, and seeing that pace from Fessy behind, Flint may start to get the hurry up here and realize that it may not just be sick position that is, oh, well, I've got 6 no down, even though I lost a couple of places. He might actually be knocked down to 8th if he's not careful, such is the pace of Fessy and Aguado behind him.
It's all absolutely heating up, and thank you very much for tuning in. If you're up, please give us a like and subscribe and support this fantastic racing league. You can go to the website as well. All the information is in the description below, and the battles are brewing out. Two individual little battles at the front there inside that top 10, and that mid-pack there from about 13th or so. 13th, 14th is also
Andy Flint
up, my friend.
Very, very close, as we can see, to the back of Kevin Zemstra, especially through Village and the loop there. But here is Brad Falega. Falega fighting back that previous lap, 2/10 quicker than Aberdeen, and Jimenez 3/10 quicker than Aberdeen himself, so 10th quicker than Brad. And you can tell, is it a case that Falega and Jimenez have realized that now that they've let Aberdeen sort of escape 2 seconds up the road in the first half of the race, they're deciding, hey, you know what? We might be able to fight for victory if we just stop fighting each other. Jimenez saying, all right, I'll let you do your thing, Brad, as long as I get the benefit of slipstream behind you. As we see just behind Andy Flint, very, very close to the back of Zemstra, as Julio Palacio has lost a couple of positions against Scott Taylor, but has just gotten that one back into 50th position. Jimenez, yeah, he's certainly pushing Brad Falega along in the vain hope, I think, that they can catch Lee Aberdeen here.
Really, Flint's just got to try to find a way past. It's one thing to catch, it's another thing to overtake. That is the difficulty that he's had after dropping a couple of places here. The only driver that's just down a couple of places from where he started P4, currently running in P6. That battle he knows is brewing up behind them, trying to catch them. And these two have been at it tooth and nail, like, you know, two boys going to the principal's office for fighting at the school playgrounds.
Well, I think they're not at the make up and apologise stage just yet then, I would dare wager. But incredibly, as we see Scott Taylor trying to get back through, Jimenez sets another fastest lap of the race. He is flying at the back of Brad Falega as they go another 3/10 quicker than Lee Aberdeen on that previous lap. Aguado, though, sets another fastest lap of the race, 150.052, a tenth quicker than Simon Fessy ahead of him. And they're right behind Andy Flint now, 8/10 of the current gap, as we ride on board with Tassie all over the back of Clark Williams. What I was just going to say, still 35 drivers in the race, which are all 35 who started it. Even with 10 laps to go, we've had the first 15 laps, and we are getting towards that closing third of the race now, as Neff is really starting to weigh up his options here. Does he go for a risky move on Brad Falega? There's a 3.2 second gap to Ludovic Ranson. Ranson, of course, second in the championship, not able to make an impression on the podium duel here. So Jimenez, he has really got to make up his mind, not only whether he's going to make a risky move on Brad Falega, but if so, where's the best opportunity? Surely end of hanger straight into Stowe is the obvious one.
Yeah, we'll see. We shall see. Just the different racing lines as they're going through this tyre start. There's all the kitty little kick back up over again, and here we go, my friend.
Yep, so Jimenez with his best opportunity in a while, closing on the back of Brad Falega. You can see Ranson has got Zemstra, Flint, Fessy, and Aguado all over the back. Aguado very, very close to Simon Fessy as they go into the braking zone for Stowe. But again, Aguado, the Andorian, just waiting for his moment here. Simon Fessy, it's almost pass or be passed here in this battle, isn't it? With him and Aguado trading fastest laps with one another. But now they're in position. Fessy has gained 5 positions from where he started in 12th on the grid. Ridgway has gained about 7. He is just inside the top 10. and lapping in the mid-50s at the moment. That last lap from Fessy was a 50.2, Aguado 50.3. They're still the fastest in the top 10, or at least they would be if Bad in Iron hadn't gone a tenth quicker than the two of them as well. But yeah, we go. Krish Patel is actually getting past Robert Ridgway as we speak. So a mistake from Ridgway allows Patel to take that final spot in the top 10 away from him. But look at this. Andy Flint under up the rear wing of Kevin Zemstra, and yeah, you can see there's just a tiny gap between himself and Fessy, but that could disappear in an instant. So this four-way battle for fifth could go either way. And then we've got Ranson not far ahead of them either, as Jimenez is really close once again to the back of Brad Falega as they go into that middle sector again. Brad Falega flirting with the track limits there, but Lee Aberdeen is fighting back 3/10 quicker that last lap than the pair of them.
Yeah, this is so fantastic. I would like all those drivers at the moment. Thank you. I'll give them a little radio message, come through and say you've been ordered by race control to bunch up together there so we can get you on a whole shot of the fantastic racing.
Here we go. Yeah, it's certainly been entertaining. So tense. One little mistake could absolutely change the complexion of this duel and decide who comes out on top. So you might as well tuck in, wait for the last moment, and make the move into Stowe on the final lap when the car that's currently ahead won't have enough time to make a counter attack, of course, and won't have that sort of right of reply. But yeah, the risk with that, because you leave it too late and you're not close enough, then you've blown your chances that you might have had earlier. So you've got to use your resources effectively here, and Brad Falega has done that so far. 2/10 quicker than Lee Aberdeen. It is back and forth in this lead fight, and if Aberdeen has a mistake, he could absolutely still fall into the clutches of the British driver behind him. But Jimenez has just been pushing him along the entire way. And yeah, this rear wing shot has been probably the most anxiety-laden one, especially if you're Brad Falega or any of his Legion of fans, hoping he holds on to this P2 that he qualified in.
I'll just say, like anything, I can't see anything in my mirrors. So just got to focus on your own racing up the road there, isn't it? Because, yeah, you literally don't have much. Well, of course, I'll have much more than they'll see in a normal Formula One car, even though we are in the Super Formula Lights. But still, well, to give you an idea, of course, we will go into the cockpit view, and this is exactly what Alex can see. My voice is a bit cleaner than some of the other drivers, but that halo, of course, I have the option to turn that off in the sim. A lot of drivers would, but if you're driving in VR, sometimes you could leave it on because you're going to be looking into the corner. But here we go, riding right down low.
I think it's a little bit like rifle shooting, where you use it to sort of mark up your sight, make sure you're shooting square down the middle. Is he going to get the bullseye here? As he slingshots out of Chapel, they all snake down the straight, and that is Zemstra desperately trying to break the toe there, if I'm not mistaken, there from Flint, Fessy, and Aguado. And yeah, they all have to sort of take a bite. It might actually be Ransom very, very head of the track, the snake that's trying to dictate the positioning there. But yeah, Ranson now nearly 4 seconds behind him and F, so he is very much in full defensive mode. Aberdeen sets the fastest of the race, 150.050. He's very, very nearly in the 149s. So that's very impressive, and Aberdeen has peaked at the right moment, but Aguado tops it even more at the back of this train, 150.036. Then can he use that pace to get ahead of Simon Fessy here, or is Fessy going to be making the moves on Andy Flint before that opportunity presents itself?
This is fantastic, absolutely brilliant racing from these drivers. You'd mentioned it before, hadn't you? We've only had we've had two retirements, I believe, currently at the moment in this race, which is not bad considering we've had a stacked grid of 36,
yeah, Michael
35.
Matthew Gracie.
Oh, that's a late send on the inside there. Can you make it stick? Fessy, you can see up the road there, bird's eye view that we got. Get your popcorn ready. Alex, that we're riding on board with, is going to be enjoying this show, or perhaps not enjoying the show if they do happen to come together and he happens to be an unfortunate victim to that racing. But you got to be in it to win it, my friend, and they certainly are in this race. 8 to go.
Yeah, and we did say as well, Andy Flint, he was challenging for the podium early doors, but that mistake there opened the door for Simon Fessy, and is it going to open the door for Alex Aguado as well? And the Andorran is all over the back of him in that yellow and purple machine. Andy Flint is going to have to dig deep. He goes a little bit wide out of Chapel, and surely the way is clear now for Aguado to get up the inside, but Flint uses any of his fuel mix, any of his resources, just so he has the straight line speed there. But Simon Fessy is already starting to attack Zemstra, who's right tucked up behind Ranson here. So yeah, Ranson under real pressure, gets defensive up the inside into Club, Corner and the Vale, and yeah, trying to back Zemstra into the very, very rapid looking Simon Fessy, who of course is Ranson's teammate, if I'm not mistaken, in the
yep, exactly.
Unity team. Yeah,
they got to work together at this one. Brad and Tony are still at it, getting very,
living
very
up
close.
To their name, aren't they?
Yeah, I just don't. Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, what's happened to Aguado? Aguado's just dropped a couple attempts off as trying to go around the outside. But Fessy was trying to make a move happen on the exit of Villager, and he very nearly got caught out by Andy Flint. Flint, as a consequence, has been backed again into Aguado here. So it's sort of a stalemate here as we keep going. Jimenez looks to the outside. Brooklyn's Brad Falega is again going to have to go deep. Controls the middle of the road. That was actually really disciplined on exit there from Brad Falega to make sure that he didn't leave any door open there for Tony Jimenez. A little bit of gravel kicked up, but that won't hurt his exit too much. Just the lightest of touches. And I think iRacing might be being a bit of a prima donna. Very, very over dramatic. Whenever they go over the curb, it throws dirt and dust at the car behind from the cockpit view here. But yeah, Tony Jimenez, this has been his view for pretty much the entire race. Do you think he's going to have nightmares about that white rear wing and back of that car?
Oh well, he's season's champion. He's used to consecutive results. You see, he's not always a driver that wins the races, but you don't have to win races every single time to win championships. You just need to be consistent, and so Tony can handle this pressure quite well. Done it before in the past, and he loves this motor racing. It's whether or not Brad is going to be loving to see that previous champion tucked up on his gearbox the whole race.
Or Ranson through past Kevin Zemstra for position. Whoa, it's getting very, very hectic back here. And Zemstra is now up to fourth, very clearly past. And you can see Ranson there losing out, and now potentially at the mercy or lack thereof of Simon Fessy then as they cross the start-finish line. 5 laps to go.
Got to get rid of the main building there, the sail on top of it. You're blocking at iRacing. Okay, we don't need the building there in the virtual world.
Aguado trying to get past Flint up the inside into Village. And there we go, Andy Flint. Oh, it's almost free wide into the loop as Zemstra is diving back up the inside to try and hold on to fourth from Ranson. And Fessy is going to get a beautiful run here. He's patiently waited for his moment here, but he might have to pick off 2 of them at the same time. Is it going to be free wide again into Brooklyn's here? Ranson tries to break deep. Zemstra is still on the inside. Oh, Fessy has the back out there and goes a little wide himself, and that is going to allow Aguado to have a little sniff around the outside into Luffield. And yeah, actually Fessy does very well not to feed Aguado into the gravel there.
I got a feeling this isn't over yet, my friend. Oh, contact!
Oh! That was Ranson just trying to get back to the racing line, and Zemstra was already there. And a little bit of a shove there. That's going to hurt their momentum. Fessy trying to go around the outside. We're not going to go full wide into Maggots and Beckett. Surely that's suicidal. Oh, and they somehow all get through without completely clattering into one another there. But yeah, this is tighter than tight as Ranson fights like crazy to hold all 4 cars at bay behind him there. Never mind Jimenez versus Fulliger. This is the true fight. Free wide into Snow Corner. This is going to end very, very badly for somebody. Ranson still on the inside. Zemstra attempts to go the long way around. Is he going to complete this? This is very, 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 very tense. And you don't know where to look here. Aguado, Fessy, Flint is back in this fight. Iron is catching up to the back of them as well. And Zemstra through he goes up the inside, but Ranson gets the better exit up the inside. And as they cross the line, 4 more laps to go. It is Ranson, Zemstra, Fessy, Aguado, Flint, and Iron.
This is absolutely fantastic racing, and I can't believe that we're all pointing in the right direction. Still, after this, Lee's going to be watching this one back later. The Aussie at the front there going, it's a pretty boring race for him at this point, but it's not boring where it is here currently on your pitches. The battle for P4.
Look at Flynn, he's lost out to Iron. So Iron, with all of this concertina effect, has allowed him to absolutely take advantage. And he has actually been very, very solid in this one, as we see Fessy passing Aguado, retaking that sick position almost. But Fessy is not quite late enough on the brakes, has to go around the outside, takes the inside for Luffield. Simon Fessy needs to not hit Aguado here because he's got those championship aspirations, doesn't Simon Fessy, or does he? No, he doesn't. No, he is second in the championship, isn't he? Behind Aberdeen. So the last thing he needs to do is clatter into the side of Aguado. But yeah, Fessy has had a great comeback so far, but not quite able to get into the top 6, with Aguado impressively holding on there as the pack just ever so slightly starting to split apart, although Zemstra still nipping at the heels of Ranson here.
Yeah, especially because this race has been fantastic so far, and you've only got 5 laps to go. You'd like to see all of these fantastic gladiators here at Silverstone finish the race. And here comes IndyCar-esque snaking.
2 positions.
Yep.
Oh dear, the slipstream, that little aero advantage, the hole in the air, so crucial to be in that, so you get that little bit of overspeed that can enable you to get alongside, pull off a move. Andy Flint trying to go back around the outside of Iron. That was a bit of a non-starter there. You can tell Andy getting a little bit desperate here as he's been shuffled out, but Iron does not get the best exit himself, so that is crucially going to drop him off the back of Simon Fessy. So it's once more simply a 4-way fight rather than a 6-way fight for that 4th position.
Oh, it's coming back and through here if the crowd get out of the way. Of course, yes, it is.
There we go. Iron just about holds on there, despite that poor exit. He had his nerve, had his wits about him through turns 1 and 2. Zemstra being forced out. Aguado now challenges for 5th, and it's going to be Simon Fessy that has to pick which one he's going to follow. Gets a better exit than both of them, but he's got nowhere to go. He's almost fed into the side of the bridge there by Kevin Zemstra, and now here comes Simon Fessy and Aguado side by side. It's Fessy now that is back up the inside into the left field. Fessy into P6. Aguado gets bold, gets brave around the outside, but he knows he's into the thin end of a wedge here and needs to be careful not to make contact with Simon Fessy.
I'm just wondering when this other battle up the road there between Tony and Brad is going to start changing soon too, mate.
Jimenez's ahead.
Yeah.
He's just gotten past Brad. I would love to see a replay of that move. But there we go. So, yeah, Tony Jimenez is not going to wait till the final lap. He's going to try and make hay now. But, of course, 3.7 seconds is the gap now to Lee Aberdeen. So they are pretty much only fighting each other at this phase. And Jimenez gets defensive into Stowe. So Falega can't just go back up the inside like he did earlier in the race. He is going to have to now match and wait for his moment to repass Jimenez. But these two have put in together spectacular show for us. Not quite as spectacular as the Ranson Zemstra Fessy Aguado battle, but it's up there.
Yeah, well, we'll see if we can go back and get a replay of that one very soon. A lot of actions occurring from race control messages at this point. We shall see the dying stages of this race. 3 to go.
Yeah, Falega then tucks in behind 7.5 seconds to Ludwig Ranson. That's how much time Ranson has lost out defending like crazy. He's going to have to do it a little bit more here. Look at this, Fessy and Zemstra almost side by side into the loop as they arrive. That's very late on the brakes from Fessy. They almost try and squeeze Zemstra to the 2 Unity racing cars, and that's actually not quite worked out for Fessy. Almost allowed Aguado to have another run at him here. They are trading position every other corner. It feels like Fessy and Zemstra side by side. He's going to try and put the blinkers on the Dutchman. Gets up the inside into Brooklands there and fends him off then. So it's Unity 4 and 5 in there. They've gained 3 and 7 positions respectively from where they started of the 2 Frenchmen.
Well, Brad's going to have to have a Brad Grad's down, isn't he?
Ooh.
Really, at this point.
Patel and Ridgway have come together. And they've lost out on that battle for 10th because Alexei Yukish has picked off the both of them. So, fantastic opportunism there. Let's have
there
a replay.
That's the overtake. He went too wide there, went out.
Patel went on the curb. Oh, no, that was for Brad. He almost did the Franco Colapinto and went too far over the curb and just about kept in a straight line, though, as we see now Zemstra falling back into the clutches of Aguado. Aguado gets alongside, and the Andorran giving him a little bit of a frightener into Stowe. There's a battle going on a little bit further back. I think that must be Yukish, Patel and Ridgway squabbling over the top 10, final position in the top 10, as now Aguado has got his sights very set on Kevin Zemstra here. So Zemstra has only got to defend for 2 more laps here, but can he do so?
Well, they've been doing it for so long, really, at the end of the day. So, I mean, dress rehearsal's over. This is it's been the main event for some time. No weather at play is going to be causing any issue with these drivers here, and the beautiful United Kingdom weather, of course, is so unpredictable.
Well, one way to stop being passed from the point of view of Kevin Zemstra is to repass Simon Fessy, but that is risky, and Fessy, with his championship aspirations, is not going to roll over for Zemstra or Aguado, and he's almost again feeds Aguado into the grass. There we go. Aguado almost tries to swerve back into the side of Zemstra, sorry, tries to swerve into the path of Aguado. Oh, a little bit of contact. There we go. It was only going to stay clean for so long, and Aguado was not about to lose out there as Chris Patel has had a big off
slow down
and fallen down to a 12th position back behind Ridgeway.
Yeah, it looked like he had just left them through. This is not over yet at that battle for P2. As you saw, that little mistake from Brad. But we're going to have to go back to this other... Well, so many battles at the moment.
Yeah, Zemstra has lost out big time because Iron has just got through as well for P7. And here we go. Brad Verleger's got a great opportunity here. He tucks into the slipstream. Is he quite close enough? He's only going to have one more opportunity after this. Now is the moment for Brad Verleger. Wants to take that runners-up spot, but Jimenez defends into Stowe and stops him getting through.
Easier said than done, isn't it? Because it's not very easy. You're going to compromise yourself from the racing line by going very defensive here. But you know that. It's not going to be easy to get around here. Oh!
Fessy down to 9th. Oh dear, he's lost it at Stowe. Maybe a bit of contact there as well with Aguado. But there we go. That is disastrous for the man second in the championship. So yeah, Fessy, he has got Aguado right behind him. Does he just drop it on his... Oh dear. And lucky not to be collected by anybody. Everybody's had amazing avoiding instincts here today, haven't they? As Zemstra still in the battle, because now Iron taking advantage, and he's up to P5. Amazing recovery through the field by him, as Aguado nearly makes contact as well.
Yeah, we're on the last lap of this absolute crack of a race.
Yeah, Flint tried to go back around the outside, but yeah, he is down to 8th, unfortunately. Simon Fessy will have to be content with 10th, I think, at the end of this, and that is going to hurt his championship as Zemstra trying to go back around the outside of Iron into Brooklands. Who is going to be later on the brakes? Who's going to get the overlap? They bang wheels ever so slightly. Zemstra has to go off track and rejoins right behind and alongside Alex Aguado.
Yep,
Brad is very close to Tony.
Race. Yeah, this is it.
My goodness. Do we watch this? Do we watch Zemstra versus Iron? So Zemstra very, very close into Cops now with Bahadin Iron. They're 3 thousandths apart. Zemstra, I think, has just gotten back through on the Turkish driver behind. As here we go, Verleger trying to set up Jimenez. Has he got anything left in the tank to challenge with here? Aguado gets past Iron for P6 as they all shuffle with position through. Magus, Beckett and Chappell, and Andy Flynn is just trying not to hit the back of anybody here. But yeah, still 4 all in a train all together. But it's Lee Aberdeen who has not put a foot wrong today, who's going to take yet another victory. His he's going to go one better than he has the last couple of races. The championship leader extends his advantage. It's Lee Aberdeen that wins the British Grand Prix. Fantastic from the Australian. Iron clears Aguado right at the death here and takes Flint with him. Jimenez holds on to second from Brad Verleger, who takes third. Then it is Ranson in 4th, Zemstra 5th, Iron in 6th, and Andy Flint in 7th from Aguado, Yukish, and Fessy. So Aguado, yeah, really lost out right on that final lap there. But yeah, Iron, Zemstra just holding on by the skin of his teeth as well. What a absolutely insane battle for P4.
Oh, Roberts is going to chuck it into the fence. So we'll just keep it out of the fence just for fun. Of course, they've just finished the line anyway, so you're not actually ending it. There are a few battles that are probably, I'd have to say at the moment there for our Scotsman. Didn't quite get the exit speed he wants. He'll get beaten by Elliott towards the line on that one. And there's those drivers just having a little bit of fun, of course, after what was a cracker of a race. There were lots of battles that occurred. We didn't catch all of them on the screen because there was so much action. Sure, these drivers are going to be loving to watch those replays back later on, as well as the race broadcast.
Here comes McKenzie. After that off very early, he's right behind Dorian Arroyo, but the Mexican will hold our second Scotsman at bay, and it's McKenzie that has to be content with P27. Ahead still, though, of Lewis Archer. Remember, Nguyen and Eddie Amos, who crashed into each other at the very start of the race. Amos is up the inside, the Welshman trying to make a move at the very, very end of the race. Nguyen breaks super late into Stowe, and they're still side by side, putting on a superb show, even if it is only for 29th position. But nonetheless, every little position, every little hint of pride matters. Amos goes very, very deep into Club and the Vale, but it is going to be Nguyen that holds on. And it's Amos that completes the field, last finisher in 30th position then.
Absolutely fantastic. It's just racing down to the wire, isn't it? Between those drivers, that's just a little bit of bragging rights between them to see who's gonna get that one. But, well, as an Australian, that's going to be absolutely happy. The man that's leading the championship going into this round will be leading the championship with a chunk of change and more points going out of this one.
Yeah, and especially with Fessy having that incident right near the end, falling down to 10th, that suits him down to the ground, doesn't it? And and especially with Denny Cornu also not having a great round either. So let's recap the final results. It is Lee Aberdeen that wins by 4.3 seconds from Tony Jimenez. Brad Fulliger takes his first podium at home. A superb drive, great fight with Tony Jimenez throughout the race, but he just misses out on second position. Ludovic Ranson in an insane squabble, a 5-6 car fight for fourth position. He finishes fourth, just ahead of Kevin Zemstra. Bahadin Iron gains 4 positions to finish 6th from Andy Flint. Disappointment for Andy, but he still finishes in the top 7. Alex Aguado, disappointment on the final lap to only finish 8th. Then it's Alexei Yukish, who had a very, very decent race, to 9th. Simon Fessy, the big loser in that insane scrap, falling down to 10th, with Robert Ridgway just recovering to 11th ahead of Krish Patel in 12th. Julia Palacio was 13th. Mehmet Tassi was 14th. Scott Taylor rounds out your top 15, just ahead of Nicholas Rasmussen, the Danish driver, of course, in 16th. Then it's Clark Williams, 17th. Adam Talsma, 18th. Elliot Hankin, 19th. Stu Milne, 20th. Jack Williams in 21st. Denny Cornu down in 22nd. A messy race for the Frenchman. Richard Van Veen gained the most positions from where he started, 12 places gained to finish in 23rd. Patrick Rowlands was 24th from Patrick Williams. Then it was Dorian Arroyo in 26th, John McKenzie 27th, Lewis Archer 28th, Nguyen 29th, Eddie Amos, the final finisher, in 30th, but not getting to the end, sadly, were Justin Fields, disappointment for Fields, Paul Distelli, Leonard O'Cherry, Mike Ulch, Matthew Gracie, and Kevin Byland, who, of course, had a headache, did not make the start. Well, we hope that cured your headache, Kevin, because that was an absolutely spectacular battle for second place and for fourth, I think.
Brilliant racing. And of course,
we get a few comments. Aguado, who I assume is Alex Aguado, says fun race crazy. So that sums it up perfectly. I think.
Yes, it was. And well, this is when qualifying comes so much into play, isn't it? Because Lee, once he got off that finish line to start the race in P1, he never looked backwards.
Nope, he certainly didn't. And Aberdeen shows his class once again. And Brad Verlager, though, did well to hold that second position for as long as he did from the reigning champion, as we see the pack rushing through. So many highlights, it'd be difficult to sort of go over them all in replay, because I think we'd be here all night, and I've already got warnings from the rest of the family that wants to go to bed and wants me to shut up and stop commentating across the hall. So anyway, Dean, it's been a pleasure to cover this. So another victory for Lee Aberdeen, his first of the season, of course, but this puts the pressure on our Frenchman Simon Fessy and Denny Cornu. But yes, Ranson, of course, is going to gain quite a lot of ground, having won that battle for fourth. But have you seen a new star in Brad Verlager there, showing his quality with that qualifying on the front row and holding his own against Tony Jimenez? I think that could be a driver we come to watch in future rounds, of course, in the rest of this season.
Absolutely. So stay tuned for more of the action, to follow all the action. And of course, if you want to be a part of this fantastic racing league that's been around for a long time, look at the website, iGPFun.com, and you can get all the information up there. Listen to the calendar. We've got much more racing to come. This is only round 3, my friend. We've got lots to go. You want to wrap it up there, Brad?
Yeah, round 4 will be... Okay. Don't know who Brad's supposed to be. One of the other commentators, I assume. But anyway, next round is at the Algarve International Circuit with the Grand Prix layout and the chicanes. So that should be an absolute corker. So make sure you tune into that on JP Broadcasting. I've been Edward Hunter. He's been Dean Hopton, aka Biggles. Congratulations to our race winner and championship leader, Lee Aberdeen, who continues to look imperious up front. Thank you very much to everyone watching at home, and make sure to tune in next time, because you never know, we might see you on the track one day yourself. Thanks for watching. Good night, everybody, and bye for now.